love should never come at the expense of your peace. Friendship should never feel like a burden. If being around someone constantly leaves you feeling drained, anxious, or unworthy, that is not a relationship, it is a transaction. And you are paying the highest price. There is nothing noble about tolerating mistreatment. There is no reward for enduring relationships and diminishing. That is not a relationship, it is a transaction. To take advantage of your kindness, the highest price. There is nothing noble about tolerating mistreatment. There is no reward for enduring relationships and diminishing. That is not a relationship, it is a transaction. To take advantage of your kindness, the highest price. There is nothing noble about tolerating because they have a good heart. There is no reward for enduring relationships. Walking away makes them selfish or ungrateful, but boundaries are not selfish. Boundaries are necessary. If someone constantly disturbs your peace, it is your responsibility to distance yourself from them. You do not owe anyone unlimited access to your energy, especially when they refuse to honor it. A person who truly values you will respect your peace. They will not force you to entertain chaos. They will not expect you to be available at their convenience while ignoring your needs. But people who do not value you will always demand more than they are willing to give. They will guilt trip you into staying in toxic situations. They will make you feel like setting boundaries is wrong. But you must remember this: anyone who has a problem with your boundaries is someone who benefited from you having none. Do not sacrifice your peace to make someone else comfortable. The cost is too high, and the return is too low. Peace is not just about avoiding conflict, it is about creating an environment where your spirit can thrive. Some people bring nothing but confusion into your life. They gossip, they stir up drama, they manipulate situations to keep you emotionally unsettled. And for too long, you have tolerated it. Maybe because they are family. Maybe because you have known them for years. Maybe because you are afraid of what life looks like without them. But ask yourself this: is keeping them in your life brought you peace? Or has it only caused you stress? Has their presence made you feel safe and supported, or have they only brought disappointment and frustration? You cannot heal in the same environment that broke you. You cannot find joy while surrounding yourself with people who thrive in negativity. At some point, you have to decide that your well-being matters more than your history with someone. At some point, you have to accept that it is not your job to fix people who refuse to change. Choosing peace sometimes means choosing distance, and that is a choice you must be willing to make. Letting go of people who do not value you is not easy. But neither is constantly explaining your worth to someone who refuses to see it. You should never have to convince anyone to appreciate you. You should never have to beg for respect. The moment you find yourself repeatedly trying to prove your value, that is the moment you need to step back and reevaluate the relationship. The right people will recognize your worth without you having to fight for it. The right people will not treat your peace as something disposable. But the wrong people, they will take as much as you allow. They will drain you emotionally and then act as if you are the problem when you finally say enough. Protecting your peace means knowing when to walk away. It means no longer making excuses for people who continuously hurt you. It means choosing your own happiness, even when it is hard. You are not responsible for how others treat you, but you are responsible for how long you tolerate it. Your peace is too expensive to keep giving away to people who do not appreciate it. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing they owe their loyalty to those who mistreat them. Just because someone has been in your life for a long time does not mean they deserve a permanent place in your future. Just because you have history with someone does not mean they have earned the right to keep disturbing your peace. Loyalty should never come at the cost of your well-being. If a relationship is constantly bringing you stress, frustration, and exhaustion, it is not a relationship, it is a burden. And you are never meant to carry burdens that break your spirit. Walking away does not mean you do not care. It does not mean you wish them harm. It simply means you value yourself enough to protect what brings you peace. Some people will never change, but you do not have to keep allowing their behavior to affect you. You do not have to stay in toxic situations just because you are afraid of change. Peace is a choice. And the moment you decide that your mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being matter more than keeping toxic people around, your life will transform. You must understand that choosing peace will sometimes mean disappointing people. It will mean saying no when you used to say yes. It will mean setting boundaries that others do not like. But that is okay. People who genuinely care about you will respect your need for peace. Those who do not will try to make you feel guilty for prioritizing yourself, but do not fall into that trap. You are not here to be drained by people who refuse to pour into you. You are not here to be manipulated expect. You have a responsibility to protect your heart, your mind, and your energy. If someone constantly brings negativity into your life, you have every right to distance yourself. If someone refuses to see your worth, you have every right to stop proving it. Your peace is not something that should be sacrificed for the sake of keeping others comfortable. You deserve to live a life free from unnecessary stress and emotional chaos. And the only way to achieve that is by choosing every single day to protect your peace no matter what. Your mind is like soil. Whatever you plant in it will grow. The thoughts you entertain, the conversations you engage in, and the content you consume all shape the way you see the world, and more importantly, the way you see yourself. If you constantly feed your mind with negativity, doubt, and fear, those seeds will take root and influence every aspect of your life. If you entertain toxic people, toxic environments, and toxic behaviors, it will reflect in your decisions, your emotions, and your overall well-being. The things you allow into your mind shape your beliefs, and your beliefs shape your reality. You cannot expect to live a positive life while constantly consuming negativity. You cannot expect to have a strong, determined mindset while surrounding yourself with people who encourage self-doubt. Your mind is powerful, but it is also vulnerable to what you expose it to. Be careful what you allow to take up space in your thoughts. Be mindful of what you entertain, because over time it will become the foundation of your mindset. What you repeatedly hear, see, and think about becomes the lens through which you experience life. Protect your mind the same way you protect your peace. Every decision you make is influenced by the thoughts you allow to take root in your mind. If you constantly consume fear-based thinking, you will start to operate from a place of fear. If you constantly listen to people who tell you that you are not good enough, you will start to believe it. If you fill your mind with doubt, you will never have the courage to take risks. What you entertain will eventually manifest in your life. This is why you have to be intentional about what you expose yourself to. The conversations you have, the music you listen to, the books you read, the social media you scroll through, all of it has an effect on you. You may think you were just watching a show, just listening to a song, just having a casual conversation, but everything you consume is shaping the way you think, and the way you think is shaping your future. If you do not guard your mind, you will find yourself living a life based on other people's fears, insecurities, and limitations. Be selective with what you allow to influence you. Mindset is too valuable to be shaped by things that do not serve you. You cannot expect to grow if you are constantly entertaining things that keep you stagnant. The mind thrives on what it is fed. If you feed it negativity, it will produce negativity. If you feed it hope, it will produce faith. If you feed it doubt, it will produce hesitation. Everything begins with a thought. Before you act, before you speak, before you make a decision, there is a thought that fuels it. This is why you must take control of what you entertain. Some people wonder why they feel stuck in life, why they lack motivation, why they can never seem to move forward. But if they examine what they allow into their minds daily, they would see the problem. If you are always engaging in gossip, you will always see life through a critical lens. If you are always watching content that promotes fear, you will always struggle with confidence. If you are always listening to people who complain, you will find yourself complaining just as much. Your mind is a reflection of what you feed it. If you want to elevate, you must start by elevating what you allow yourself to entertain. Everything you do, everything you believe, and everything you strive for is shaped by the ideas you allow to take root in your mind. If you allow negativity to take residence in your thoughts, it will eventually dictate your choices, your habits, and your actions. If you entertain limiting beliefs, you will live a limited life. People do not just wake up one day feeling hopeless. It is something that happens gradually over time because of what they have been feeding their minds. If you constantly expose yourself to negativity, it will slowly drain your confidence, your ambition, and your peace. But the same is true for the opposite. If you consistently feed your mind with encouragement, inspiration, and wisdom, your mindset will shift in ways that push you forward. You have to decide what kind of life you want to live, and then make sure your mind is aligned with that vision. You cannot desire success while constantly entertaining failure. You cannot seek happiness while consistently feeding yourself with things that bring sadness. Your life will follow the direction of your thoughts. Make sure your thoughts are leading you somewhere worth going. Some people entertain thoughts of doubt and wonder why they struggle with confidence. They entertain thoughts of failure and wonder why they never succeed. They entertain thoughts of fear and wonder why they are always anxious. What you entertain is what you become. You have to be intentional about what you allow to influence you. Stop engaging in conversations that make you feel small. Stop entertaining content that glorifies negativity. Stop surrounding yourself with people who reinforce a defeated mindset. The people you listen to, the words you absorb, and the beliefs you hold on to all shape the way you move through life. If you want to build a strong, resilient mindset, you must eliminate anything that weakens it. You must replace fear with faith, doubt with confidence, and negativity with hope. You must train your mind to reject anything that does not align with where you are trying to go. You cannot afford to let just anything take root in your mind. Your mindset determines your actions, and your actions determine your future. If you want a better life, start by feeding your mind with better thoughts. The world will constantly try to shape your thinking. It will tell you what you can and cannot do, what you should fear, what you should believe, and how you should see yourself. But you have the power to decide what influences you. You have the power to reject thoughts that do not serve you. You have the power to guard your mind from negativity, distractions, and limitations. If you want to change your life, you must start by changing what you entertain. Stop letting negativity take up space in your mind. Stop letting doubt convince you that you are not capable. Stop allowing fear to dictate your choices. You are stronger than you think. But you will never see your full potential if you continue to feed your mind with thoughts that work against you. Elevating your life starts with elevating your mindset. And elevating your mindset starts with making the choice to entertain thoughts that empower you, not thoughts that weaken you. The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. Choose wisely. Everything you consume is shaping you, whether you realize it or not. The conversations you have, the news you watch, the voices you listen to, they all contribute to the way you think. If you surround yourself with negativity, your outlook on life will become negative. If you constantly expose yourself to ideas that belittle your dreams, you will start to doubt yourself. If you give your energy to people who drain you, you will always feel exhausted. What you entertain is your mindset. And your mindset shapes your reality. You cannot expect to have peace while entertaining chaos. You cannot expect to have faith while entertaining fear. You cannot expect to live a fulfilling life while feeding your mind with things that make you feel empty. Be intentional about what you allow into your space. Protect your mind the same way you protect your home. Not everyone deserves access. Not every thought deserves attention. Not every conversation deserves engagement. What you focus on expands, so make sure you are focusing on things that build you up, not things that tear you down. A strong mindset does not happen by accident. It is built through intentional choices. Every day you have the choice to feed your mind with things that strengthen you or things that weaken you. You have the choice to entertain conversations that uplift you or conversations that drain you. You have the choice to consume content that inspires growth or content that breeds negativity. The quality of your life is a direct reflection of the thoughts you allow to take root in your mind. If you want to elevate, you must be mindful of what you are feeding your spirit. What you watch, what you listen to, and who you surround yourself with are all shaping your beliefs, your confidence, and your vision. If you are not careful, you will find yourself living a life shaped by someone else's fears, limitations, and insecurities. Be intentional about what you entertain. Protect your peace, guard your thoughts, and make sure that everything you consume is pushing you toward the person you were meant to become. Your mindset is the foundation of your future. Make sure it is built on things that will help you grow. Letting go is one of the hardest things to do, not because we do not want to move forward, but because we become attached to what is familiar. We hold on to things, people, and situations long after they have served their purpose because we convince ourselves that letting go means losing. But letting go is not giving up, it is making space for something greater. It is understanding that what is meant for you will never require you to beg for or suffer just to keep it. When you refuse to let go of what is holding you back, you block what is trying to reach you. Life cannot bless you with something better if your hands are too full holding on to something that no longer serves you. Growth requires release. Elevation requires sacrifice. You cannot step into your future while clinging to the past. You cannot embrace what is waiting for you if you are too afraid to let go of what you have outgrown. Every time you hold on to something that is draining you, delaying you, or diminishing you, you are telling yourself that you do not deserve better. But you do. You always have. Fear is what keeps people stuck in situations that no longer serve them. The fear of uncertainty, the fear of change, the fear of starting over. But the truth is, holding on to something that is not meant for you is far more painful than letting it go. You were never meant to stay in places where you no longer grow. You were never meant to settle for relationships that leave you empty. You were never meant to shrink yourself just to fit into spaces that no longer feel right. Yet, so many people do. They convince themselves that holding on is strength. But real strength is knowing when to walk away. Real strength is trusting that what you release will be replaced with something greater. You cannot step into the fullness of your destiny while dragging the weight of the past with you. You must be willing to release anything that no longer aligns with your purpose. Whether it is a relationship, a job, a habit, or a mindset. If it is no longer serving you, it is time to let it go. You deserve to make room for something better. Some people think letting go means failure, but the real failure is staying in a place where you are not growing. The real failure is choosing comfort over purpose. The real failure is settling for less than what you deserve because you are afraid of the unknown. Letting go does not mean you have given up. It means you trust that life has more for you than what you are leaving behind. It means you refuse to let fear dictate your decisions. It means you believe in your worth enough to walk away from anything that does not honor it. There is power in release. There is power in knowing when something has run its course. There is power in making the decision to stop holding on to what is not meant for you. If something is costing you your peace, your joy, and your sense of self, it is too expensive. If something is draining your energy more than it is pouring into you, it is not worth it. The longer you hold on to what is not meant for you, the longer you delay what is. Let go so something greater can take its place. Some doors close not because you are losing, but because you are being redirected to something better. Some people walk away from you not because you are unworthy, but because they were never meant to go where you are going. Some opportunities slip through your fingers not because you were not capable, but because there is a greater opportunity ahead. But if you refuse to let go of what is leaving, you will never be able to receive what is coming. You have to learn to trust the process even when it does not make sense. You have to learn to trust that life is always guiding you towards something greater, even when it feels like you are losing everything. Holding on to what no longer belongs to you will only keep you stuck. It will only rob you of the joy, peace, and fulfillment that come with stepping into what is truly meant for you. Letting go is not giving up, it is trusting that what is ahead is greater than what is behind. It is believing that what is meant for you will never require you to suffer just to keep it. The reason so many people struggle with letting go is that they do not realize what they are holding on to is what is holding them back. They become attached to the version of themselves that existed in that situation. They define themselves by a relationship, a title, a role, or a season of life. And they fear that letting go means losing their identity. But who you were is not all you were meant to be. Who you were is not the final version of yourself. You are meant to evolve, to grow, to step into higher levels of yourself. But you cannot do that if you refuse to release what no longer aligns with who you are becoming. You are not meant to live in the past. You are not meant to hold on to things just because they once made you happy. Some things were only meant for a season. Some people were only meant to be lessons. Some situations were only meant to prepare you for what is next. When you let go, you do not lose, you free yourself to receive what is truly meant for you. Letting go is an act of self-respect. It is choosing yourself over situations that no longer honor you. It is understanding that your worth is not determined by what you hold on to, but by what you make room for. Too many people stay in unhealthy relationships, unfulfilling jobs, and toxic environments because they are afraid of what will happen if they walk away. But what about what will happen if you stay? What about the years you will waste holding on to something that no longer serves you? What about the opportunities you will miss because you were too afraid to release what was never meant to last? Letting go is not about losing, it is about gaining. It is about gaining clarity, peace, and the space to welcome something better. You cannot pour new blessings into a cup that is already full. You cannot receive what is meant for you if you are still holding on to what is not. Sometimes the only thing standing between you and the life you desire is your unwillingness to let go of what is holding you back. Growth and comfort cannot coexist. You cannot step into your purpose while clinging to what feels safe but stagnant. You cannot reach for greater while holding on to what is familiar but limiting. The reason many people never see real transformation in their lives is because they refuse to release what is keeping them stuck. They want better, but they are afraid to lose what they have. They want to elevate, but they are unwilling to let go of what is weighing them down. But you cannot fly while holding on to things that keep you grounded. You cannot step into the fullness of your potential while being attached to things that were only meant for a season. Letting go is not about abandoning everything. It is about trusting that something better is waiting for you. It is about believing that you are made for more than just surviving. It is about knowing that every time you release something that no longer serves you, you create space for something that does. You will never know what is possible for you until you have the courage to let go of what is no longer meant for you. There's nothing weak about letting go. It takes strength to walk away from something that once made you happy. It takes courage to trust that better things are ahead when you cannot yet see them. It takes faith to release something when you do not yet know what will take its place. But that is the beauty of life. Sometimes you have to let go before you see what is next. Sometimes you have to trust the process before you understand the purpose. Sometimes you have to believe that what is on the other side of release is greater than anything you have ever known. The longer you hold on to what is leaving, the longer you delay what is coming. The longer you resist change, the longer you keep yourself from the blessings that are waiting for you. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means stepping into something greater. It means believing that you are worthy of more. It means trusting that what is meant for you will always make space for you. Let go not because you are losing, but because you are making room to receive what is truly meant for you. Silence is not empty. It speaks volumes if you are willing to listen. In a world filled with noise, distractions, and constant demands for your attention, silence can be the most powerful answer you can give. It is in silence that clarity is found. It is in solitude that you truly hear what your soul has been trying to tell you. When you remove yourself from the noise of other people's opinions, expectations, and judgments, you begin to recognize your own voice. You begin to see what is truly important. You begin to understand that not every battle needs a response, not every insult needs a reaction, and not every situation needs an explanation. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is remain silent. Sometimes the best way to respond is by refusing to engage. Not every fight is worth your energy. Not every conversation is worth your peace. Silence does not mean weakness, it means wisdom. It means you understand the power of restraint. It means you know that your energy is too valuable to be wasted on things that do not serve you. Silence is sometimes the strongest statement you can make. There is strength in solitude. The ability to be alone and still feel whole is a sign of true confidence. Some people cannot sit in silence because they fear their own thoughts. They constantly surround themselves with distractions, noise, and other people's energy because they do not want to face themselves. But solitude is not loneliness. Solitude is an opportunity to reconnect with yourself, to hear your own thoughts, and to reflect on where you are going. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in life come not in conversation, but in quiet reflection. Some of the greatest answers are found not in speaking, but in listening. If you always need validation, approval, or company to feel secure, you will always be dependent on external sources for your peace. But when you learn to embrace silence, when you learn to sit with yourself without fear, you unlock a deeper understanding of who you are. You stop seeking answers from outside sources and start trusting the wisdom that has been inside you all along. Silence reveals truth. Solitude strengthens perspective. When the world gets too loud, sometimes the only way to hear what truly matters is to step away and be still. Not everything requires a response. Sometimes the best answer is no answer at all. When people try to drag you into arguments, when they try to provoke you, when they try to get a reaction out of you, silence is often the most powerful response. Engaging in negativity only gives it power. Arguing with people who refuse to understand only drains your energy. There are moments when your silence will say more than words ever could. There are times when walking away will speak louder than any explanation. There is wisdom in knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. Some people think silence is a sign of weakness, but it is actually a sign of discipline. It is a sign that you refuse to waste your words on people who do not value them. It is a sign that you understand your energy is sacred and not everyone deserves access to it. Do not waste time explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Do not waste energy proving your worth to those who refuse to see it. Silence is often the strongest statement you can make. Silence gives you clarity. When you are constantly surrounded by noise, whether it is from social media, television, or the opinions of others, it becomes difficult to hear your own thoughts. But when you step away from the distractions, when you allow yourself to sit in stillness, you begin to see things more clearly. You begin to understand what truly matters. You begin to recognize what is worth your time and what is not. Some answers cannot be found in conversation. Some answers can only be found in silence. The reason so many people feel lost, confused, and overwhelmed is because they never take the time to be alone with their thoughts. They seek answers from everyone but themselves, but no one can give you clarity like silence can. No one can provide direction like stillness can. When you are unsure of what to do next, when you are overwhelmed by the voices around you, step away. Turn off the noise, be still. Listen, the answers you are looking for are not outside of you, they are within you. But you will never hear them if you do not allow yourself the space to listen. Solitude is a teacher. It shows you who you are when no one is watching. It teaches you what truly matters when the noise of the world is stripped away. Some people fear being alone because they equate it with loneliness. But solitude is not isolation, it is an opportunity for self-discovery. It is a space where you can heal, grow, and realign with your purpose. When you are constantly surrounded by others, it is easy to lose yourself in their expectations, their opinions, and their energy. But when you take the time to be alone, you gain a deeper understanding of who you are outside of external influences. You learn to trust yourself. You learn to listen to your intuition. You learn that your worth is not determined by how many people surround you, but by how secure you are within yourself. Solitude is where true confidence is built. It is where you develop a foundation so strong that no amount of external noise can shake it. Some of the most profound lessons in life are learned not in conversation, but in quiet reflection. Sometimes the silence speaks louder than words ever could. There is power in choosing when to speak and when to remain silent. Not every situation deserves your words. Not every argument deserves your energy. Sometimes the best response is to say nothing at all. People will try to bait you into reacting. They will try to provoke you. They will test your patience, challenge your peace, and push your buttons. But you do not have to respond to everything that demands your attention. Silence can be a shield. It can be a boundary. It can be a form of self-respect. When you refuse to engage in negativity, when you choose to rise above the chaos, you take control of your own energy. You show the world that your peace is not for sale. That your time is too valuable to be wasted on meaningless arguments. That your focus is too strong to be disrupted by unnecessary distractions. People who do not understand the power of silence will mistake it for weakness. But the wise know better. The wise understand that sometimes the most powerful statement you can make is the one you do not say. Some of the greatest revelations in life come in moments of stillness. When you allow yourself to sit in silence, when you embrace solitude, you give your mind the space it needs to process, reflect, and realign. Too often people rush to respond. They speak before they think. They react before they understand. But when you take the time to be still, when you resist the urge to fill every quiet moment with noise, you gain a deeper sense of clarity. You begin to understand that not everything requires your immediate reaction. You begin to see that some situations when you simply step back and allow things to unfold naturally. Silence gives you the space to choose your response wisely. It allows you to observe rather than react. It gives you the wisdom to know when to speak and when to remain still. The world moves fast, but wisdom comes to those who are patient enough to listen. In the rush to be heard, do not forget the power of silence. In the need to respond, do not overlook the wisdom that comes with simply waiting. The ability to be comfortable in silence is a sign of true inner strength. Some people feel the need to constantly explain themselves, to constantly defend their choices, to constantly prove their worth. But those who truly know their value do not need to announce it. They do not need to argue with those who doubt them. They do not need to convince anyone of their greatness. Their actions speak for themselves. Their presence speaks for itself. When you are secure in who you are, you do not need validation from anyone else. You do not need to respond to every criticism, every doubt, every negative remark. You understand that silence is often the best answer. That solitude is often the best space for growth. That wisdom is found not in noise, but in quiet reflection. When you embrace silence, when you embrace solitude, you become unshakable. You develop a peace that cannot be disrupted by outside forces. You gain a strength that cannot be weakened by unnecessary battles. Some of the most profound moments in life happen not in speaking, but in listening. Not in noise, but in stillness. Sometimes the silence says it all. Your dreams belong to you. They were not given to your family, your friends, or the people around you. They were placed inside of you for a reason, yet too many people hold back because they are waiting for someone to tell them it is okay to chase what they truly desire. They hesitate, waiting for validation, waiting for approval, waiting for someone to understand the vision that was never meant for them in the first place. But the truth is, not everyone will understand your dream, and that is okay. Not everyone will see the vision, and that is not your problem to fix. Your purpose was not designed to fit inside the small minds of those who cannot see beyond their own limitations. If you spend your life waiting for approval, you will never move. You will remain stuck, trapped by the opinions of people who were never meant to define your path. Your dream does not require permission. It requires faith. It requires boldness. It requires you to step forward even when no one claps for you, even when no one sees what you see. Your dreams do not need approval, they need action. The biggest mistake people make is allowing doubt to stop them before they even begin. They start thinking about what others will say, how others will react, whether people will support them or not. And in doing so, they rob themselves of the opportunity to even try. The reality is people will always have something to say. No matter what you do, no matter how great your vision is, there will always be those who doubt you, criticize you, and try to discourage you. But that is not a reason to stop. Their opinions do not control your destiny. Their lack of belief does not determine what is possible for you. Too many people give up before they even start because they are waiting for confirmation from those who were never meant to see the vision. You do not need people to believe in you for your dream to be real. You need to believe in yourself. You need to trust that the vision placed inside of you was placed there for a reason. You need to move forward even when no one else understands. Your dreams were given to you, and that is all the approval you will ever need. The people who doubt you now will be the same people who claim they always believed in you once you succeed. That is the way the world works. When you are just starting, people will question you. They will remind you of all the ways you could fail. They will tell you to be realistic, to play it safe, to follow the path that everyone else follows. But the moment you break through, the moment you prove them wrong, they will suddenly change their tune. They will act like they always supported you. They will pretend they always saw your potential. That is why you cannot build your dreams on the opinions of others. Because those opinions are fickle. They change with time, with circumstances, with success. If you live for approval, you will die in disappointment. Because there will always be people who do not see what you see. There will always be those who doubt you. Your job is not to convince them. Your job is to keep going. To believe in yourself even when no one else does. To understand that your dreams are not dependent on other people's permission. The people who change the world are the ones who refuse to wait for approval. They are the ones who step out when no one else believes. They are the ones who trust the vision placed inside of them, even when everyone else calls them crazy. Think about the greatest innovators, leaders, and dreamers in history. They were told they were wrong. They were told their ideas were impossible. They were told to give up, but they did not listen. Because they knew that their dreams were bigger than the doubts of others. They knew that their vision did not need to be understood by everyone. They understood that the greatest ideas often sound foolish to small minds. If you want to do something great, you must be willing to walk alone. You must be willing to move forward even when no one claps for you. You must be willing to trust that the dream inside of you is real, even when others cannot see it. The moment you stop seeking approval is the moment you truly become unstoppable. Too many people give up on their dreams because they are waiting for permission that will never come. They are waiting for their family to believe in them, for their friends to encourage them, for society to validate their path. But what if that approval never comes? What if the people around you never see what you see? Will you abandon your purpose just because others do not understand it? Will you let their doubts determine your destiny? The truth is, if you need approval to start, you will never make it. Because the greatest dreams, the greatest breakthroughs, the greatest achievements often begin in isolation. They begin with a single person who dares to believe in something greater. A person who understands that their purpose is not up for debate. A person who refuses to shrink their dreams just to fit into the expectations of others. You do not need anyone to tell you it is okay to chase your dream. You need to decide that it is okay for yourself. You need to stop waiting and start moving. The only approval you need is your own. People will always have opinions, but opinions do not build success, actions do. If you waste your time worrying about what others think, you will never take the steps necessary to reach your dreams. You will second guess yourself, hesitate, and eventually give up before you even begin. But if you learn to trust yourself, if you learn to move forward despite the doubts of others, you will begin to see just how powerful your own belief can be. Confidence is built through action. The more you move, the more you push forward, the more you prove to yourself that you are capable, the less you will need the approval of others. Because you will have your own evidence. You will have your own experience. You will see for yourself that the dream inside of you is not an accident, it is a calling. And once you recognize that, no opinion, no criticism, no doubt can shake you. Because you will understand that the only validation you ever needed was already inside of you. If you wait for the perfect moment to chase your dream, you will be waiting forever. There will always be an excuse, a reason to delay, a person telling you to wait just a little longer. But the truth is, the perfect moment does not exist. The right time is the moment you decide to move forward regardless of who approves. Too many people spend their lives waiting for permission, waiting for support, waiting for everything to feel right. And in that waiting, they waste years that could have been spent building, creating, and making their dreams a reality. The people who succeed are not the ones who wait for approval. They are the ones who move despite the uncertainty. They are the ones who take action even when the world tells them they are not ready. Because they understand that readiness is a decision, not a destination. You will never feel completely prepared. You will never have everyone's approval, but you do not need it. All you need is the courage to begin. Your dream does not need to make sense to anyone but you. It does not need to fit into the expectations of others. It does not need validation from those who do not see what you see. If you have a vision, if you have a purpose, if you feel called to do something greater, do not let the doubts of others stop you. Do not let their fear become your reality. People will always project their limitations onto you. They will tell you what you cannot do. Not because it is impossible, but because they cannot imagine it for themselves. But their fears do not belong to you. Their doubts are not your burden to carry. Your job is to believe in yourself even when no one else does. Your job is to trust the vision that was placed inside of you. Your job is to move forward without waiting for permission. The world does not need another person who plays small just to be accepted. The world needs people who are bold enough to chase their dreams even when no one else believes. The world needs people like you. Pain is temporary. It feels overwhelming in the moment, but no matter how intense it is, it eventually fades. The struggle, the setbacks, the disappointments, all of it passes with time. But regret? Regret lingers. Regret stays with you long after the opportunity has passed. It whispers in your ear when you think about what could have been, what you should have done, what you were too afraid to chase. Pain will test you, but regret will haunt you. Pain is the price of growth, but regret is the cost of inaction. Too many people let the fear of temporary pain keep them from chasing their dreams, and they end up stuck with a lifetime of regret. They let the discomfort of hard work, discipline, and sacrifice stop them from going after what they truly want. They choose comfort over courage, and later in life they realize that what they avoided was never as painful as what they lost. The pain of pushing through is temporary, but the pain of looking back and wondering what if lasts forever. The choice is yours. Endure temporary pain now or carry the weight of regret for the rest of your life. People often fear pain more than they fear regret, but they do not realize that regret is the heaviest, the heaviest of all. Pain demands something from you in the moment. It pushes you, stretches you, challenges you. But once you get through it, you emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Regret, on the other hand, does not make you stronger. It only leaves you wondering about what could have been. It does not push you to grow, it holds you back. It keeps you stuck in the past, replaying the moments where you chose fear over faith, comfort over courage, hesitation over action. The truth is, the pain of discipline, effort, and perseverance is nothing compared to the pain of knowing you let your dreams slip away. Every time you choose to avoid pain, you risk choosing regret. Every time you back down from a challenge because it seems too hard, you risk looking back and realizing you let an opportunity pass you by. Pain is an investment in your future, but regret is a debt you can never fully repay. Choose wisely, because one way or another you will feel something, either the pain of effort or pain of regret. The greatest accomplishments in life require you to go through pain. Success is built on sacrifice. Growth is built on discomfort. Achievements are built on struggle. But too many people want the reward without the pain. They want the success without the sacrifice. They want the victory without the fight. And when they realize that the price of greatness is discomfort, they settle. They give up. They convince themselves that it is easier to stay where they are than to endure the temporary pain of growth. But the truth is, pain is inevitable. No matter what path you take, you will experience it. The difference is one type of pain leads to progress while the other leads to regret. The pain of discipline will shape you into a stronger version of yourself. The pain of hard work will build you into someone capable of achieving great things. But the pain of regret, it does nothing but remind you of what you could have had if only you had been willing to endure a little discomfort. Every time you choose to avoid pain, you choose regret instead. No one reaches their full potential without facing pain. There is no shortcut to success. There is no easy path to greatness. The people who make it to the top are the ones who refuse to let pain stop them. They are the ones who understand that discomfort is a necessary part of growth. They are the ones who embrace the struggle, knowing that what they endure today will lead to something greater tomorrow. But those who fear pain, they stay stuck. They never take risks. They never push themselves beyond their limits. And eventually they realize that while they avoided pain, they also avoided progress. The regret of knowing you never truly gave your best effort is worse than any temporary pain you will ever experience. The regret of watching others achieve what you were too afraid to chase will hurt far more than any failure or setback ever could. Pain is the price of success and regret is the cost of inaction. You cannot escape both. The choice is yours: endure temporary pain or live with permanent regret. Fear of pain keeps people from taking chances. It convinces them to play it safe, to stay within their comfort zones, to avoid anything that might challenge them. But what they do not realize is that avoiding pain does not protect them, it limits them. It keeps them from discovering what they are truly capable of. It keeps them from reaching their full potential. And one day they wake up and realize that the life they are living is not the life they truly wanted, it is just the life they settled for. They look back and see all the missed opportunities, all the moments where they could have tried but chose not to. And in that moment they understand that regret is far worse than any pain they were trying to avoid. Because pain is temporary, it comes and goes, but regret stays. It follows you, reminding you of what you could have had, what you could have become, what you let slip away because you were too afraid to face a little discomfort. You do not let the fear of pain keep you from chasing your dreams. The cost of regret is far too high. No one ever looks back and wishes they had tried less. No one ever reaches the end of their life and says, I wish I had been more afraid. I wish I had avoided more challenges. I wish I had done less. But countless people look back with regret, wishing they had taken more chances, wishing they had been bolder, wishing they had not let fear stop them. Because in the end, it is not the moments of struggle that haunt you, it is the moments where you could have fought but chose not to. It is the moments where you had an opportunity to push forward but let fear convince you otherwise. Every time you avoid pain, you trade it for regret. And the truth is, pain is something you can recover from. You can heal. You can grow. You can learn from it. But regret is a wound that never fully heals. It lingers, reminding you of what you lost, what you missed, what you gave up on. The pain of trying will always be temporary, but the pain of not trying will stay with you forever. The people who succeed are not the ones who avoid pain, they are the ones who push through it. They are the ones who understand that temporary discomfort is a small price to pay for the life they want to build. They are the ones who refuse to let fear or struggle keep them from moving forward. But those who let pain dictate their actions, those who run from every challenge, those who refuse to step outside of their comfort zones, they are the ones who wake up one day filled with regret. They are the ones who look back and realize that the pain they were trying to avoid was never as bad as the pain of knowing they wasted their potential. Pain is part of the process, it is part of growth, it is part of success. You cannot avoid it, but you can decide whether you will let it stop you or strengthen you. Do not trade your dreams for comfort. Do not trade your potential for safety, because the pain of effort lasts only for a moment, but the pain of regret lasts a lifetime. Nothing is more painful than looking back and realizing you wasted time. Time is the one thing you can never get back. Money can be earned again. Opportunities can come back around. But time, once it is gone forever. And when you realize that you spent years playing it safe, that you spent time avoiding pain instead of embracing growth, that you allowed fear to keep you from chasing your dreams, that is a regret you will carry forever. The pain of discipline, the pain of hard work, the pain of struggle, it all passes. It makes you stronger, it leads to something greater. But the pain of wasted time, that pain never goes away. The only way to avoid that kind of regret is to act now. To push through the discomfort, to refuse to let fear dictate your future. Pain is a part of life, but it does not have to define you. What defines you is what you do with it. Will you let it stop you? Or will you push through, knowing that what lies on the other side is worth every moment of struggle, The choice is yours. Your path is yours alone. No one else can walk it for you. No one else can carry your dreams, your struggles, or your responsibilities. The journey you are on was designed specifically for you with all its challenges, lessons, and victories. But too often, people look to the left and right, comparing their progress to others, questioning whether they are moving fast enough, achieving enough, or living the way others expect them to. Comparison is a trap, will rob you of your joy, your purpose, and your unique journey. The moment you start measuring your success by someone else's timeline, you lose sight of what truly matters. Your path is not meant to look like anyone else's. It is not supposed to follow the same pattern, move at the same speed, or arrive at the same destination. The more you try to fit into someone else's story, the further you drift from your own. The only way to truly succeed in life is to embrace your journey as it is. To trust that where you are is exactly where you are meant to be and that your path will unfold in its own time. People will always have opinions about where you should go, what you should do, and how you should live. But they are not the ones walking your path you are. They are not the ones carrying your dreams, fighting your battles, or making the sacrifices necessary to reach your destination. That is why you cannot allow their opinions to dictate your decisions. If you live your life based on what others expect, you will never truly be free. You will never know the fulfillment of chasing something that is authentically yours. Too many people spend their lives following a script that was never meant for them, going to schools they do not care about, working jobs they do not love, and living lives that do not inspire them simply because they were afraid to step into their own path. But the truth is, you do not owe anyone an explanation for following your own destiny. You do not need permission to pursue what sets your soul on fire. The only approval you need is your own. Because at the end of the day, the only person who has to live with your choices is you. Your path is not meant to be understood by everyone. Some people will question it. Some will doubt you. Some will try to convince you to take an easier road, a safer road, a more predictable road. But their lack of understanding does not mean you are on the wrong path. It simply means that your journey is not theirs to understand. Too often people give up on their dreams because they feel alone in their pursuit. They assume that if no one else sees the vision, it must not be real. But the truth is, every great dream begins in isolation. Every successful person has faced moments where they felt misunderstood, where they walked alone, where they had to trust themselves when no one else did. That is the price of walking your own path. It requires courage. It requires faith. It requires the willingness to keep going even when no one else sees what you see. But if you stay true to your journey, if you refuse to let doubt shake you, one day the world will understand what you well along, that your path was never meant to be ordinary. The road you are on will not always be easy. There will be obstacles. There will be moments of doubt. There will be times when you question whether you are even on the right path. That is part of the journey. Growth does not happen in comfort. Strength is not built without struggle. Every challenge, every setback, every difficult season is preparing you for what is ahead. Too many people abandon their journey the moment it gets hard. They assume that difficulty is a sign that they are going the wrong way. But the truth is, struggle is not a sign to turn back. It is proof that you are moving forward. The people who reach their goals are not the ones who had an easy road. They are the ones who refused to quit when things got tough. They are the ones who understood that their path was worth the fight. Do not let temporary struggles make you forget why you started. The road may be long, but every step you take brings you closer to where you are meant to be. There will be times when you feel like you are falling behind. You will look around and see others reaching milestones you have not yet achieved. You will see people moving faster, accomplishing more, and seemingly having it all figured out. But you must remind yourself that their journey is not yours. Their timeline is not your timeline. Comparison is dangerous because it makes you believe that you are not enough, that you are not where you should be. But the truth is, you are exactly where you need to be. Every person's path is different. Some people rise quickly but fall just as fast. Others take longer to grow but build something that lasts. Your timing is unique. Your journey is unfolding in a way that is best for you. Stop looking at what others are doing and focus on your own road. Trust that the pace at which you are moving is the pace that is right for you. You are not behind. You are not late. You are on your own path, and that is enough. One of the hardest lessons in life is learning that not everyone is meant to walk your path with you. Some people will leave. Some will not understand your vision. Some will try to hold you back. And as painful as that is, it is necessary. Growth requires separation. You cannot take everyone with you into your next season. Some relationships are only meant for a certain chapter of your life, and that is okay. Too often people hold on to connections that no longer serve them because they are afraid of walking alone. But the truth is, not everyone is meant to go where you are going. Your path is yours alone. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you will find peace. Do not be afraid to walk alone. Do not be afraid to let go of people who do not support your growth. The right people will find you along the way. The ones who are meant to be in your life will walk with you, not hold you back. Trust the process. Your path will require sacrifice. It will require you to give up certain comforts, certain habits, and certain distractions. Success is not built on convenience, it is built on discipline. Too many people want to reach their goals without making sacrifices, but that is not how growth works. You cannot hold on to everything and expect to move forward. Some things must be left behind. Some comforts must be exchanged for progress. Some distractions must be removed so you can focus on what truly matters. The question is, are you willing to do what it takes? Are you willing to sacrifice temporary pleasure for long-term success? Are you willing to let go of what is holding you back so you can step into something greater? Your path will test you. It will challenge your commitment. It will demand more from you than you think you have to give. But if you stay focused, if you remain disciplined, if you refuse to be distracted by what does not serve you, you will reach places others only dream about. The journey is not easy, but it is worth it. No one can define success for you. The world will try to tell you what your life should look like, what career you should choose, what accomplishments you should chase, what milestones you should reach. But none of that matters if it does not align with what truly fulfills you. True success is not about living up to someone else's expectations. It is about walking your own path with confidence and purpose. Do not let society dictate your definition of success. Do not let outside pressure push you into a life that does not make you happy. Your path is yours. If you want to take a road less traveled, take it. If you want to build something new, build it. If you want to pursue something different, pursue it. You do not need permission to live a life that feels right for you. The only regret you will ever have is choosing a life that was never meant for you. Stay true to your own journey, no matter how unconventional it may seem. Because at the end of the day, the only path worth walking is the one that is truly yours. If you've been waiting for a sign to let go, PSSIT. Free yourself. Step boldly into your purpose. Trust that when you release what's weighing you down, you'll rise higher than you ever imagined. It's time to detach, let go, and focus on your path.
There is a particular kind of pain that doesn't scream. It doesn't shout for attention. It doesn't rage or retaliate. It simply exists quietly, heavily, deeply. It sits in the chest like a stone that refuses to move. And the most tragic part? It's not caused by strangers or enemies. It's inflicted by those you defended when no one else would, by those you stayed loyal to even when they gave you every reason to walk away. Loyalty, it's a beautiful word, isn't it? But only when it's mutual. When it isn't, it becomes a curse disguised as virtue. You were loyal beyond reason. You forgave what most people wouldn't. You showed up even when you were breaking inside. You held the line for people who would have gladly let you fall. You listened to their silence, endured their moods, absorbed their anger, and told yourself it was just you stayed when everyone else walked away. And for that, they laughed. They didn't just take your loyalty for granted. No, they mocked it. They mocked your patience, your silence, your sacrifices. They mistook your kindness for weakness, your endurance for naivety. They assumed that because you didn't retaliate, you didn't feel. That because you stayed quiet, you didn't see. But you saw everything. You felt everything. You just carried it alone. There's a haunting cruelty in being mocked for your goodness. It's one thing to be hurt by someone. It's another thing entirely to be laughed at for loving them. To be told explicitly or through action that your loyalty was foolish, that your devotion made you a joke, and yet you stayed, not because you were weak, but because you were strong enough to love without condition. And that kind of strength is terrifying to those who live without integrity. But let's ask a difficult question. What does it do to a person to be mocked for their loyalty, to be made to feel stupid for loving deeply? It erodes something sacred. It warps their sense of self. It makes them question their worth. Was I wrong to stay? Did I not see the truth soon enough? Was my love misplaced? Wasted? And these questions linger in the soul like shadows in a room that never gets light. But here's the deeper truth. The universe and whatever divine structure governs it is not blind. There is a justice woven into the fabric of reality that cannot be escaped. And those who mock your loyalty will one day mourn it. They will search for it in others and never find it. They will cry out for the same kind of devotion you once gave freely and be met with silence. And in that silence, they will finally understand the depth of what they destroyed. You see, the cost of betrayal is rarely immediate. It's delayed. It creeps in slowly. It waits until the one who was hurt has healed, risen, and moved forward. That's when karma speaks. And when it speaks, it doesn't shout. It whispers truth into the lives of those who once mocked you. And in that moment, they are forced to remember your loyalty. But by then, it's too late. Now the time has come, not for revenge, but for reflection, for letting those who once mocked your heart cry out for it in your absence. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone. The pain you carried, the sacrifices you made, and the silence you endured, they were not signs of weakness. They were evidence of your strength. Your loyalty was never the joke. Their betrayal was. So let them cry now. Let them sit with their choices. Let them search for what you gave and never find it again. Because while you were breaking in silence, they were laughing out loud. But now, the silence is theirs to carry. And as we explore the full weight of this experience, let us uncover the patterns, the truths, and the outcomes of what happens when loyalty is mocked and love is betrayed, because the pain you carried in silence was not without meaning, and now justice is echoing through the silence they once ignored. They took your silence as surrender. There comes a moment in every wounded soul's journey where silence becomes the only language left. It's not because you didn't have anything to say. It's because you had said everything already through your actions, your sacrifices, your presence, and still they didn't hear you. So you went silent, not out of defeat, but out of exhaustion. Not because you gave up, but because you were tired of giving everything and receiving nothing in return. They saw that silence and smiled. They saw your withdrawal and interpreted it as surrender. How foolish they were to believe that quiet meant brokenness, that retreat meant defeat, that your stillness was weakness, but they were wrong, so very wrong. You see, silence is often the space where strength gathers. It's the ground where warriors heal, where hearts recalibrate, and where dignity takes root. You weren't waving a white flag. You were rebuilding the very soul they tried to fracture. You weren't walking away in shame. You were walking inward to protect what was left of yourself. And in doing so, you proved a kind of power they'll never comprehend. But they didn't understand that. No, they looked at you and thought they had won. They believed they had broken the person who once bent over backward for them. The one who absorbed insult after insult, who forgave not once or twice, but more times than you can count. They thought your silence was the final stage of your defeat. What they couldn't see was that behind that silence was a storm, a gathering force of truth, realization, and painful clarity. You were waking up, slowly, deeply, painfully, but surely. And while you were quiet, you were remembering everything, the way they dismissed your pain, the way they made jokes out of your vulnerability, the way they twisted your loyalty into something pathetic, something laughable, and it hurt. God, it hurt. But you stayed silent because screaming wouldn't change the outcome. You knew that now. Have you ever held in a scream so loud it made your chest ache? Have you ever sat across from someone who hurt you and pretended like everything was okay just to keep the peace? Have you ever carried so much emotion in silence that it felt like your ribs would snap under the weight of unspoken pain? That's not weakness. That's power. That's control. That's endurance forged in fire. They will never understand the nights you cried into your pillow, questioning your worth. They will never see the way you replayed their words over and over, wondering how love turned into cruelty. They will never feel the tremors in your soul each time they mocked you behind your back, thinking you were too soft to fight back. But your silence wasn't because you lacked the strength to fight. It was because you had the wisdom to know it wasn't worth it anymore. And that kind of restraint, that level of emotional control, that is terrifying to those who thrive on chaos and manipulation. That is strength wrapped in grace. They laughed because they thought they won, but what they actually witnessed was the beginning of their loss. Because when the person who gave you everything grows silent, it's not peace, it's a warning. It's the calm before the justice, the calm before karma arrives to collect. And now, as the silence stretches longer, they begin to feel it. That emptiness, that absence, that strange, haunting realization that the one they thought they defeated is the one they'll never get back. And suddenly, they're the ones screaming, but this time it's inside themselves, and no one's listening. You love them more than they deserved love. When it is real, does not measure. It doesn't count the costs. It doesn't keep a record of how many times it was ignored or how many nights it went unreciprocated. Real love gives and gives and gives. And that's what you did. You poured your soul into someone who barely even held out their hands to receive it. You gave them a place in your heart that was sacred, a place you rarely opened to anyone, and they walked in like they owned it, then trampled everything. You loved them more than they ever earned. You gave them more chances than they ever deserved. You forgave them when you had every right to walk away. You defended them when others tried to warn you. You believed their lies because you wanted their truth. You saw glimpses of who they could be and fell in love with the potential while they made no effort to become that person. It wasn't that you were blind. No, you saw the red flags. You felt the distance. You sensed the changes, but you loved them through it. You told yourself, they're just going through something, or they'll realize one day what I mean to them. You excused the disrespect. You minimized your pain. You carried the relationship when they dropped it again and again. And all the while, they knew. They knew you would stay. They knew you would forgive. They knew your heart was wide open, and they treated it like it was disposable. There's a brutal kind of sorrow that comes with realizing you weren't loved back, not even close to how deeply you loved them. You offered them loyalty, They offered you manipulation. You gave them your whole heart. They gave you pieces of themselves, scattered, cold, and incomplete. And yet, even in your breaking, you searched for ways to understand them, to give them one more chance, to see the best in them, even when they showed you their worst. That kind of love, selfless, unconditional, relentless, is rare. It's precious. It's not a weakness. It's a strength most people will never be capable of. And instead of honoring that, they took it for granted. They treated it like background noise, something they could always come back to when the world grew quiet, something they could use when convenient, then discard when they felt powerful again. But love is not a convenience. It is not a commodity. And one day they will feel the weight of what they lost. Because here's the truth. No one can replace the kind of love you gave them. They will search for it. They will try to find it in others, in fleeting connections, in shallow conversations, in temporary validation, in temporary validation, but they won't find it, because what you offered came from a depth they never deserved to reach, a depth they mocked, dismissed, and drained, and they will remember. Not today, maybe not tomorrow, but when life turns on them, when the emptiness creeps in, when their soul aches for something real, they'll think of you. They'll remember the one who stayed, the one who loved them too much, the one who believed in them when no one else did. And in that moment, they'll feel the sting of what they destroyed. They will look back and wonder how they could have been so blind, so foolish, so careless. And you, by then, will have nothing left to give, because you don't go back to the place that burned you, even if it once felt like home. And that is where the regret begins. They built comfort on your sacrifice. Some people only know peace because someone else paid for it. They live comfortably, confidently, even carelessly, not because they built that stability themselves, but because someone quietly laid the foundation beneath their feet. That someone was you. You were the one holding everything together, even when everything inside you was falling apart. You were the one absorbing the weight of their moods, their silence, their emotional immaturity. You adjusted, you compromised, you stayed calm when they erupted. You kept showing up even when they had stopped trying long ago. They never noticed the cracks forming inside you because you never let them see you bleed. And they mistook that as strength they didn't have to respect. They built a life around your emotional labor. They rested while you worried. They thrived while you struggled. They found safety in your consistency while giving you instability in return. You became their emotional shield, taking the blows, covering their flaws, making excuses to others for their behavior, always being the buffer between them and the consequences they should have faced themselves. They didn't thank you. They didn't recognize the cost of your patience. They didn't see the fatigue in your eyes, the exhaustion in your smile. Why would they? You made it look easy. You made your sacrifice feel seamless. That's the twisted part of loving deeply. When you give so well, people begin to assume it's your job to do so. And the truth is, without your presence, their peace would have collapsed. It wasn't the relationship that made them feel secure. It was your ability to hold it together. It was your constant effort to keep conversations going. Your endless emotional availability, your willingness to carry the weight of two hearts while they barely took care of one. And that stability they felt, that peace they lived in, it didn't come free. It came at the expense of your own well-being. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt the pressure to keep it calm, to watch your tone, manage your expressions, avoid certain topics, just so things don't fall apart? That's what you did every day. You tiptoed around their moods. You adjusted your needs. You carried the unspoken responsibility of keeping things function. And still, they dared to mock your loyalty. They laughed at your kindness. They ridiculed your devotion. They made you feel foolish for loving them too much, when in reality, your love was the only thing keeping them from falling into the chaos of their own making. But now that you're gone or silent or distant, things feel different, don't they? The peace isn't there. The conversations feel empty. The home feels cold. The comfort they once felt no longer exists, because it was never the relationship that gave them that safety. It was you. It was your sacrifice, your heart, your effort. And now that it's missing, they're starting to feel the truth. They don't know how to carry the weight alone. They don't know how to be emotionally present. They don't know how to offer what you once gave freely because they never learned to build it. They only learned to benefit from it. You gave them something sacred, a soft place to land, a heart that stayed open even after being hurt, a presence that never wavered even in storms, and they used it like a resource that would never run dry, but it did, because even the strongest hearts have limits. And when the comfort fades, when the silence grows louder, when the weight gets too heavy, they will finally realize what you were, what you gave, what they lost. Their mockery was projection of guilt. Mockery is a strange weapon. It disguises insecurity as superiority. It cloaks guilt in sarcasm. It hides truth beneath laughter. When they mocked you, your loyalty, your patience, your willingness to stay and love despite the pain, it wasn't because they genuinely thought you were weak. It was because deep down, they knew they didn't deserve what you gave. But instead of facing that truth, they buried it beneath their ridicule. You see, people don't laugh at what they don't recognize. They laugh to escape what makes them uncomfortable. And what made them uncomfortable was you. Not because you did something wrong, but because your presence exposed everything they were not. Your loyalty magnified their disloyalty. Your consistency revealed their instability. Your compassion was a mirror to their cruelty. And rather than looking into that mirror and confronting themselves, they chose the easier route. They mocked you. They said you were too emotional, too sensitive, too available. They rolled their eyes at your kindness, dismissed your efforts, and turned your care into a punchline. But if you look closely, their mockery was loudest in the moments you stood your ground, when you stayed loyal despite their silence, when you forgave them one more time after another mistake. That's when their laughter was sharpest, not because they had power over you, but because they were losing control of the narrative, and that scared them. It's a twisted form of self-defense. If they can make you look foolish, then they don't have to admit that they were cruel. If they can convince others you were too much, then they don't have to own the fact that they were never enough. If they can turn your love into something laughable, then they don't have to accept that they ruined something sacred. But you felt it, didn't you? The sting of being laughed at for loving, the ache of having your pure intentions thrown back at you like they were worthless. You wondered if maybe you were too much. Maybe you should have loved less, cared less, given less. That's the poison of mockery. It makes the innocent question their purity and the strong question their value. And yet, the truth always lingers beneath the noise. The truth that they knew. They knew you were rare. They knew you were real. And that's why they ran. That's why they mocked. Because facing you meant facing their own failure to love. Facing you meant confronting the guilt that kept them up at night. The guilt of knowing they had something beautiful and destroyed it out of carelessness. So they masked that guilt with jokes, with silence, with indifference. But guilt is not a ghost that leaves when ignored. It festers, it grows, it waits. And now, without your light, without your presence to deflect it, that guilt sits heavy on their shoulders. And it's not so funny anymore. Because when they told stories about you, mocking your devotion behind closed doors, it wasn't just you they were speaking to. It was themselves. It was the part of them that knows they failed, the part of them that still hears your voice, that still remembers the way you stayed, the way you loved, the way you forgave. And no matter how loud they laugh, it will never drown out the echo of what they lost. They called you weak, but it was your strength that frightened them. They said you were foolish, but it was their own foolishness they couldn't bear to face. And every time they mocked your heart, they were revealing what theirs lacked. They would search for another you and fail. There's a certain kind of love that imprints itself on a person's soul, not because of what it demands, but because of how freely it is given. You were that kind of love, the rare kind, the kind that doesn't just fill a space, it transforms it. You weren't just someone they knew, you were a safe place, a steady presence, a living example of what it means to love someone beyond their brokenness. And now they've lost that. They didn't realize at the time. They thought they had options. They believed people like you come and go, easily replaceable, easily found again, that someone else would love them the same way, that there would always be another heart willing to endure what you endured, to give what you gave. But the truth is, people like you don't come around twice, not in one lifetime, not ever. At first they feel free. That's the irony. When someone has been held up for so long by a loyal heart, they confuse that support for something they were entitled to. They begin to believe the love you gave was ordinary because you made it look so effortless. But it wasn't. It cost you. It broke you some days. It drained you to show up with the same energy, the same forgiveness, the same hope over and over again, even when they made no effort to meet you halfway. But now that effort is gone, and they're beginning to feel it. They search for someone who listens with the same gentleness, who waits with the same patience, who forgives without making them beg for it, but it doesn't happen. Because most people have boundaries, most people won't stay after being ignored. Most won't care when they're mistreated, but you did. You stayed far past the breaking point, not because you were weak, but because you believed in the goodness that could be. You saw something redeemable in them and gave them the benefit of the doubt again and again. Now, in your absence, they're left with people who won't fight for them. People who match their energy instead of rising above it. People who mirror their emotional immaturity instead of challenging it with grace. And suddenly, the attention they used to crave feels empty. The conversations they once ignored feel dull. The games they used to play feel lonely, because what they're really searching for is you. But you are no longer available, not in the way you once were, not in the way they now desperately wish for. You see, they didn't just lose a person, they lost a version of you that was priceless. The version that loved them even when they were hard to love. The version that showed up without keeping score. That version doesn't come back. Because once someone teaches themselves to stop begging to be seen, they stop offering their presence to those who are blind. Now, they scroll through old messages and feel the weight of your words. They remember your laugh, your kindness, your emotional depth, and realize they can't recreate it. They can't buy it, charm it, or demand it. Because what you gave came from a heart that chose them when it didn't have to. And now that your heart has chosen something else, peace, distance, healing, they are left with the haunting truth. No one else is you. And what they destroyed was once the rarest thing they ever had. Your absence will be their awakening. There is a silence far louder than any words could ever be. The silence that follows your absence, the stillness that takes over when the one who once carried the emotional weight, who held the space, who brought warmth into every cold moment is no longer there. That silence becomes deafening, and in that deafening void, reality begins to echo. They didn't expect it, not really. People like them rarely do. They thought you would always be there, like a light left on in the hallway, like a seat that's never taken, like a song they could play whenever they needed comfort, as they didn't notice how much you filled the air, until that air became heavy with the emptiness you left behind. At first they feel relief, freedom. The absence of accountability feels liberating for a moment. No more having to face your questions, no more dealing with your emotional depth. No more reminders that they were being loved better than they deserved. But that moment passes quickly, because what comes next is the echo of every word you spoke with trembling patience, the echo of the way you said, "I'm here," even when you had every reason not to be, the echo of your laugh, the one that made even their worst days feel bearable, the echo of the loyalty they mistook as something they deserved, not something you chose to give. And as that echo grows louder, so does the realization. You weren't a burden. You were their balance. You weren't controlling. You were committed. You weren't dramatic. You were deeply invested. But they didn't see that while you were there. They couldn't. Because when someone's always present, always forgiving, always loving, people stop noticing how much effort that takes. They assume it's just who you are, not what you're doing. But the truth is, You were choosing them every single day, even when it cost you pieces of yourself. And now that choice is gone. Now they wake up and feel the cold where your warmth used to be. Now they talk, but no one listens the way you did. Now they get upset and no one calms them like you could. Now they're lonely in a room full of people because the one person who saw through the mask, who understood the silence behind their anger, who loved the scared child behind their arrogance, is gone. You didn't slam the door. You didn't leave with the storm. That's not your style. You left the way people like you always do, quietly. And that kind of exit is the most painful, because it leaves them with nothing to blame, no drama to distract, just the stillness, just the reflection, just the weight of themselves. And slowly they begin to wake up. They start to see the pattern, how they've pushed away everyone who ever tried to love them, how they mocked what they didn't understand, how they chose ego over connection and comfort over truth. They remember how you looked at them with eyes full of belief they never earned, belief they took for granted. They remember your silence, not as weakness, but as the final act of strength, the final boundary, the final line they pushed you to cross. And in that awakening, shame sets in, because the hardest part of losing someone like you isn't just the absence, it's knowing they created it, that it was their action or lack thereof that pushed you away, that the love you gave, the loyalty you offered, the space you held was never yours to keep. It was yours to give, and once it stopped being valued, you walked away with it. Now, every time they hear your name, it stings. Every time they see someone who resembles your grace, it aches. Every time they remember a moment they once shrugged off, it burns, because now they know what you gave was rare, and what they lost was irreplaceable. Now the tears are theirs to shed. There is a quiet satisfaction in knowing that the very pain they once dismissed is now finding its way back to them. Not through revenge, not through cruelty, but through life's quiet balancing act. What was once your suffering has now become their sorrow. The tears you shed alone in the dark with no one to comfort you are now streaming down their face, but with one haunting difference. No one is there to catch them. They didn't see your pain when it was raw, when it lived in your eyes even as you smiled, when it cracked your voice mid-sentence, when it made you question your worth. They didn't notice how many times you choked back words you desperately needed to say because you didn't want to seem dramatic or needy or too much. They just saw someone who loved too hard and laughed at it. But your tears weren't weakness. They were the evidence of someone who cared deeply even when they had every reason not to. Every tear was a conversation you had to hold inside. Every tear was a moment of silence that screamed louder than words. You bled internally while pretending everything was fine on the outside, and they mistook your silent suffering for emotional simplicity. And now they know what those tears really meant. They cry now not because you hurt them, but because they hurt themselves by losing you, because they mocked the one person who loved them purely, because they ridiculed the very thing their soul now aches for. They cry because they are finally standing in the emptiness they created, and it is vast and it is cold. There is something brutally poetic about watching someone drown in the ocean they once laughed at you for navigating. The same depths they mocked you for feeling are now consuming them. They said you were too sensitive, too emotional, too intense, but now those same emotions are choking them. They're overwhelmed, confused, and broken. And this time, there's no one left to translate their pain into understanding, because the one person who did that for them is gone. These aren't just tears, they're regrets, liquefied and uncontrollable. They're apologies they'll never get to speak, they're memories they can't erase, they're images of your face, your smile, your sacrifices, haunting them at random moments, during songs, in crowds, in the quiet of the night when the world is asleep and the mind turns against itself. They cry now because the silence you left behind speaks louder than your presence ever did. They cry because they now understand what loyalty looks like. by missing the one person who gave it unconditionally. They cry because no one else puts up with their moods, their avoidance, their emotional walls. No one else loves them past the mess. No one else stays after the storm. No one else is you. And the pain they feel now is the echo of everything they once made you feel. The sleepless nights, the anxious mornings, the wondering if you mattered, the questioning if you were ever enough. Now they carry those questions like weights around their chest, and every tear is a reflection of a moment they could have chosen you, but didn't. Now the world feels less bright. Their days feel more hollow. People around them feel colder because the warmth they once mocked is no longer theirs to reach for. They remember the safety of your arms, the steadiness of your voice, the calm in your presence, and it cuts deeper than they ever thought possible. That's the thing about taking people for granted. You never feel it when they're holding you up. You only feel it once they let go. And now they cry, not for what happened, but for what they let die, for what they broke and can never repair, for the love they laughed at, the heart they wounded, and the silence that followed. One that speaks volumes. So now you rise, not in anger, not in vengeance, but in quiet power. You're no longer the person begging to be understood. You're no longer the one sitting in silence waiting for someone to see your worth. You're no longer stretching your soul to fit into places that were never built to hold it. That chapter is over. You gave them the most sacred parts of yourself, your loyalty, your forgiveness, your presence, and they used it like a tool they could throw away once it no longer served them. But the story didn't end in your suffering. It transformed in your absence. You became stronger in the silence. You learned to hold yourself where others dropped you. You built new peace, new strength, and a new identity that no longer hinges on being needed by those who failed to value you. And now they sit in the same silence they once left you in. Only this time, there's no one coming to save them. No one to absorb their chaos. No one to shield them from the consequences of their choices. What once was mocked has become the very thing they long for. Let them cry now. Let them ache in the space where your love once lived. Let the silence remind them of what they shattered, because in the end, you didn't lose them. They lost you. And nothing they find will ever compare to the heart they laughed at until it stopped beating for them. You were never the fool. You were the lesson. And now they're learning.
feel like you've known them your whole life? Like God himself aligned the stars, moved mountains, and orchestrated every moment just to bring you two together? That's not a coincidence. That's divine alignment. That's purpose. See, when someone is meant for you, there ain't no confusion, no second guessing, no restless nights wondering where you stand. Because what's real, what's truly meant, doesn't come wrapped in uncertainty. It comes with clarity. It comes with peace. And if you gotta chase, if you gotta beg, if you gotta convince somebody to see your worth, let me tell you right now, they ain't the one. The one who is meant for you will see you when others overlook you. They will understand you when others misunderstand you. They will fight for you when others walk away. And most importantly, they will choose you over and over again without hesitation. When someone is truly meant for you, there's no guessing, no overthinking, no questioning where you stand. The right connection is constantly trying to piece together. It doesn't leave you wondering if they care, if they see your worth, if they're as invested as you are. As you are. A true connection is felt deep in your soul. It's steady, it's clear, it's like a calm river flowing effortlessly in the right direction. And when you find that kind of connection, you don't have to beg for attention. You don't have to fight to be seen. You don't have to twist yourself into something you're not just to be loved. You are accepted for who you are, exactly as you are. Too many people have mistaken chaos for passion. They think if something is hard to hold on to, it must be valuable. They mistake uncertainty for excitement, thinking that the thrill of the chase means love is present. But let me tell you something, love is not meant to feel like a battlefield. If you are constantly fighting for a person's presence in your life, that is not love. That is attachment. That is fear. That is the need for validation disguised as affection. A true connection doesn't have you questioning your worth or your place in someone's life. It reassures you even in silence. It holds steady even when life gets tough. It does not waver when challenges arise. And most importantly, it does not require you to lose yourself to keep it. When someone is meant for you, their presence in your life feels like a gift, not an obligation. Maintain the relationship because the connection itself is built on something real. Mutual effort, respect, and understanding. You don't feel like you have to perform to constantly prove that you are enough. You simply are, and that is more than enough for them. You don't have to play mind games. You don't have to strategize how to get their attention. You don't have to walk on eggshells, fearing that if you say or do the wrong thing, they'll leave. A true connection is solid. It withstands time, distance, and even hardship. It is not dependent on convenience. It is rooted in something deeper than mere attraction. It is built on a foundation of genuine appreciation and alignment. The clarity of a real connection comes in the way they make you feel, not just in the words they say. You don't just hear their love, you feel it in every action, every glance, every moment of presence. You know they are there for you, not because they say it 100 times, but because they show it in ways that words never could. They remember the little things about you, the things you thought no one else noticed. They listen, not just to respond, but to understand. And when you're with them, you don't feel like you have to filter yourself to be more or less than who you are. You can just exist, and that is enough. That kind of certainty is rare, but when you find it, you'll never question it. People who are truly meant to be in your life don't leave you in emotional turmoil. They don't make you feel small, unseen, or replaceable. Instead, they make you feel cherished, valued, and irreplaceable. Their love is steady, even in the face of difficulty. They don't run when things get hard. They don't disappear when you need them most. They don't make excuses when it comes to showing up for you. They understand that love is not just a feeling, it is a commitment. Not just a feeling, it is a commitment. It is the conscious choice to stay, to support, to uplift, even when it's inconvenient. That kind of connection isn't temporary. It's not built on fleeting emotions. It's built to last. When you are with the right person, you feel at home. And I'm not talking about a physical space. I'm talking about a feeling. A feeling of belonging. A feeling of safety. A feeling of knowing that no matter what happens in the world, this person will always be your safe place. You don't have to put on a mask. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to exhaust yourself proving that you are worthy of their time and affection. They give it to you freely, effortlessly, because being with you is not a duty, it is a privilege. That's what true love feels like. It doesn't confuse you, it clarifies everything. A real connection is marked by consistency. It's not hot and cold, not here one day and gone the next. It doesn't have you questioning where you stand. It doesn't require you to beg for reassurance. Instead, it speaks for itself through actions. You see it in the way they remember your favorite things, in the way they support your dreams, in the way they celebrate your victories as if they were their own. They don't just show up when it's convenient, they show up because they care. And when someone truly cares, you never have to wonder if they do. You never have to chase what's meant for you, because what's meant for you will naturally flow into your life and stay. Many people stay stuck in relationships where they are constantly guessing, constantly trying to decode mixed signals, constantly questioning whether they are loved or just being tolerated. If you ever find yourself in that place, let me tell you, that is not love. Love doesn't leave you confused. Love doesn't make you feel like you have to compete for someone's attention. Love does not treat you as an option while you give them everything. If someone is meant for you, they see you, they choose you, they invest in you just as much as you invest in them. That's how you know the connection is real. You have to understand that not every person you feel strongly about is meant for you. Some people come into your life to teach you lessons, to show you what love is and to prepare you for the real thing. And when you mistake a lesson for a lifetime, you end up holding on to something that was never meant to be yours. That's why clarity is so important. You have to learn to recognize when something feels forced, when something requires too much sacrifice, when something constantly leaves you feeling drained instead of fulfilled. Because the truth is, when someone is truly meant for you, you won't have to force a connection that was always meant to be effortless. People spend years, sometimes their whole lives, chasing after love that isn't meant for them, trying to fix relationships that were never meant to work, and they wonder why they feel exhausted, why they feel empty, why they feel like they're constantly fighting for something that should be natural. But love is not a fight. Love is not a constant battle to be seen, heard, or valued. Love flows. It aligns. It feels right. And if it doesn't, then maybe, just maybe, it's not yours to keep. If you've ever been in a relationship where you felt uncertain, where you felt like you were always on unstable ground, let me tell you, there is something better out there. There is someone who will love you with a love that is unwavering, a love that does not leave you feeling lost or unappreciated. But you will never find that love if you keep entertaining what was never meant for you. You have to let go of almost so you can find certain. You have to stop settling for temporary so you can find forever. And when that real connection finds you, because trust me, it will, you will feel it in your soul. It will not come with confusion. It will not come with doubt. It will not require you to question your place in their life, because when something is truly meant for you, you will just know. When the right person is meant for you, they will choose you consistently. Not just when it's easy, not just when it's convenient, but every single day. Through the good, the bad, and everything in between. They won't be in your life one day and distant the next. They won't make you feel like you have to fight for their attention, their affection, their commitment. Love that is real does not require you to beg. It does not require you to constantly prove your worth. The right person sees your value from the beginning, and they never make you question whether or not you are enough. They choose you, not just in words, but in actions, in effort, in the way they show up for you again and again. Too many people get caught up chasing someone who is inconsistent, someone who loves them on Monday but disappears by Friday, someone who gives them attention when they're bored but ignores them when they're busy. That is not love. That is convenience. And you deserve more than to be somebody's temporary distraction. The person who is meant for you will not treat you like an option. They will not only show up when they feel like it, they will not make you question where you stand. Instead, they will prove through their actions that you are a priority, not just an afterthought. Real love does not play games. Real love does not send you. They don't just say it, they show it.
All right.
They feel special, and the next they feel forgotten. It does not confuse you. It does not keep you waiting. It does not disappear without warning. It does not pull you close, only to push you away. Love stays. Love commits. Love is consistent. You deserve the kind of love that does not leave room for doubt. You deserve the kind of love that reassures you even in silence, that makes you feel safe even in the hardest moments. The right person does not make you chase them. They do not make you earn their presence. They they choose you over and over again, without conditions, without games, without manipulation. And when you finally experience that kind of love, you will realize that anything less than that was never truly love in the first place. People who love inconsistently, who only choose you when it benefits them, are not your people. The person who is meant for you will not need convincing. They will not need reminders of why you are worthy. They will not play with your emotions, making you feel love one moment and neglected the next. Instead, they will offer you a love that is solid, dependable, real, a love that does not leave you questioning your worth, a love that does not make you feel like you have to compete for attention, a love that is freely given without hesitation. The right person will stand beside you not only when things are easy, but when life gets hard. They will not run at the first sign of difficulty. They will not disappear when challenges arise. They will not choose you only when you're happy, only when you're successful, only when life is smooth. No. They will choose you even in your lowest moments. They will choose you when you are struggling, when you are unsure of yourself, when you feel like you have nothing to offer. Because love is not about perfection, it is about commitment. And real love does not walk away when things get tough. If someone is inconsistent with you, if they love you one day and act distant the next, if they only show up when they need something, then they are not the one. Let that sink in. The right person does not make you question your place in their life. They do not make you feel unwanted, unseen, or undervalued. They do not make you prove why you are worthy of love. They see your value from the start and they honor it. They choose you not just in the beginning when everything is exciting, but through the highs and the lows, through the good and the bad, through every season of life. You have to understand something. Love is a choice. It's not just a feeling. It's not just words. It's not just attraction. It's the daily decision to be there for someone, to support them, to uplift them, to choose them again and again. Feelings fade, attraction shifts. But a person who is truly meant for you will not base their love on fleeting emotions. Their love will not depend on circumstances. Their love will not waver just because life gets difficult. Instead, their love will remain steady and strong because they are committed to you. That is the kind of love you deserve. Too many people waste their time chasing after someone who is only halfway in, someone who loves them with conditions, someone who chooses them only when it's easy. But the truth is, the right person will not make you chase them. The right person will not leave you wondering. The right person will not be inconsistent. Because real love is steady, real love is intentional, real love chooses you. And when you find that kind of love, you will know without a doubt that it is meant to be. If someone truly values you, they will not risk losing you. They will not take you for granted. They will not treat your love as something that can be picked up and put down at their convenience. No, they will honor your presence in their life. They will invest in you. They will nurture the relationship. They will make sure you know without a doubt that they are in this with you for the long run. That is what true love looks like. That is what real commitment means. And when that person comes along, the person who chooses you fully, wholeheartedly, without hesitation, you will feel a peace you have never felt before. You will not have to question where you stand. You will not have to fight to be seen. You will not have to wonder if their love is real. Because when someone truly wants you, when someone truly values you, when someone is truly meant for you, you will just know. Real love isn't proven when everything is easy. It isn't measured in the sunshine and the laughter and the days when everything feels light and effortless. No, real love is tested in the storm. It is revealed in the moments when life gets messy, when the weight of the world feels unbearable, when uncertainty looms like a shadow over your future. Because love that is real does not waver when things get tough. It does not disappear when struggles arise. It does not crumble under the weight of adversity. Real love stays. It fights, it endures, it walks with you through the fire and refuses to let go. Hard times expose the truth about love. They show you who is really in your corner and who was only there for the good times. Anyone can love you when you're happy, when you're successful, when life is treating you well, but who stands beside you when you are broken? Who holds your hand when you have nothing left to give? Who refuses to leave when everything in your life is falling apart? That is the person who truly loves you. That is the love that is real. Because real love isn't just about the beautiful moments. It's about commitment in the face of chaos. There will come a time when life tests the foundation of your relationships. Maybe you will lose your job. Maybe you will struggle with your mental health. Maybe you will go through a loss that shakes you to your core. And in those moments, the people who truly love you will reveal themselves. not through grand gestures, but through consistency. Through their willingness to stand beside you, not just when it's easy, but when it's unbelievably hard. Love that is real does not flinch in the face of struggle. It does not run when things stop being convenient. It is rooted in something deeper than circumstances. The sad reality is that some people only love you when it benefits them. They stay when your life is beautiful, but the moment things get difficult, they start pulling away. They stop answering your calls. They make excuses for why they can't be there. They let the weight of your struggles become a burden they no longer want to carry. And as painful as that realization is, it is a gift. Because hard times will always show you who is real and who is only pretending. The ones who leave were never truly yours to begin with. But the ones who stay, the ones who fight with you, who fight for you, those are the ones worth holding on to. Because love is not about convenience, it is not about temporary happiness, it is about commitment. It is about looking at someone and saying, no matter what comes, I'm not going anywhere. That is the love that lasts. That is the love that withstands the storms. That is the love that doesn't crumble under pressure. Because when someone truly loves you, they don't leave when the road gets rough. They tighten their grip. They stand beside you with unwavering strength. You have to understand, real love is not just about feelings. Feelings change. Passion fades. Excitement comes and goes. But commitment, that is what separates real love from fleeting infatuation. Because when life gets hard, it is not your feelings that will hold you together. It is not passion that will keep someone by your side. It is their choice. Their decision to love you even when it's difficult. Their decision to stay when everything else in your life is falling apart. That is what love truly is. A choice made over and over again, no matter the circumstances. So if someone walks away when life gets tough, let them. If someone cannot love you in your hardest moments, they were never meant to be there in your best ones. Because love that disappears in hardship was never love. It was convenience disguised as devotion. And you deserve more than that. You deserve a love that does not run at the first sign of struggle. You deserve a love that fights with you, that stands in the fire with you, that refuses to let go even when the world feels like it's falling apart. People often mistake love for comfort, for easy days, for the feeling of being understood in the good times. But love is not tested in the easy moments. Love is tested when everything feels impossible. Love is tested when patience is required, when forgiveness is needed, when life throws challenges you never saw coming. And the people who are meant to love you, they do not shrink in those moments. They do not disappear. They show up. They choose you. They stay. Hard times will show you everything you need to know about a person. They will reveal whether someone truly values you or whether they were only there for the good parts of your story. They will expose the depth of someone's loyalty, the strength of their character, the truth of their intentions. And when you find someone who stands with you through the worst of it, cherish them. Because love like that is rare. Love like that is real. You deserve a love that does not feel temporary. You deserve a love that does not shake when the winds get strong. You deserve a love that stays through every storm, through every hardship, through every battle you have to fight. And when you find that kind of love, when you find someone who refuses to leave no matter how hard life gets, you will understand what real love truly means. Because real love is not proven in the easy times. Real love is tested in the hard times. People will tell you anything. They will promise you the world, say all the right things, make you believe in their words. But words are cheap. They don't cost a thing. It's easy to say I love you. It's easy to say I'll always be here for you. It's easy to say I'll never leave. But none of that means anything if their actions don't match their words. Actions speak louder than words. You can't build trust on empty promises. You can't rely on words that have no weight. The truth of a person is never in what they say, it's in what they do. Watch how they treat you when no one is looking. Watch how they show up for you, not just when it's convenient, but when it requires effort. Because anyone can say they care. Anyone can say they love you. But real love, real care, real loyalty, that is shown through action. It's in the little things. The way they make time for you. The way they check on you. The way they make sure you're okay even when you haven't asked them to. Love is not spoken. It is demonstrated. And if someone's actions don't align with their words, believe their actions. People reveal who they truly are, not through what they say, but through how they treat you when it matters most. If someone tells you they'll always be there, but they disappear the moment you need them, believe that disappearance. If someone tells you they respect you, but constantly crosses your boundaries, believe their actions. If someone tells you they love you, but they do not choose you in their daily life, believe what they do, not what they say. Because words mean nothing if the behavior does not back them up. You have to stop listening to apologies that aren't followed by change. You have to stop giving second chances to people who only say they'll do better but never actually do. Love is not found in endless explanations and excuses. It is found in effort. It is found in consistency. It is found in a person's ability to show up for you, not just in the good times, but in the hard times, in the messy moments, in the times when it is inconvenient. If someone loves you, you won't have to question it. Their actions will make it obvious. Too many people fall for words that were never meant to be trusted. Too many people hold on to potential instead of reality. They listen to the promises, the sweet talk, the convincing explanations, and they ignore what is right in front of them, but the truth is always there, written in the actions. If someone truly values you, you will know it, not because they said it, but because they show it. If someone truly respects you, you will feel it, not because they claim to, but because their behavior reflects it. If someone truly loves you, you won't need to keep wondering. Their actions will answer every question. Actions do not lie. They do not deceive. They are the clearest form of truth. A person can say one thing and do another, but what they do will always be the reality. So stop holding on to words that are not backed by effort. Stop believing in promises that never turn into action. Stop waiting for someone to prove they care when they have already shown you through their lack of effort that they do not. A person's love is not measured by what they say. It is measured by how they show up for you, time and time again. The hardest truth to accept is that some people will never be what they say they are. Some people will tell you what you want to hear while doing the exact opposite. And if you are not careful, you will find yourself trapped in a cycle of believing words that were never meant to be real. But you deserve more than empty promises. You deserve more than words without action. You deserve to be loved in deeds, not just in speech. And the moment you start believing actions over words, you will start to see people for who they really are. Real love does not need to be proven through words. Real love does not need to be constantly defended or explained. Real love shows up. It is in the details, in the little things, in the moments that don't need to be spoken about because they are felt. A person who truly loves you will make sure you know it, not by telling you, but by showing you every single day. And when you find that kind of love, you won't have to question it. It will be clear in everything they do. Loyalty is not spoken, it is demonstrated. Trust is not built on promises, it is built on actions. Respect is not declared, it is shown through behavior. And when someone truly values you, they do not leave you guessing. They do not make you wonder. They do not make you search for proof. Their actions speak louder than any words ever could. Because when love is real, when loyalty is true, when respect is genuine, it does not need to be announced. It is felt. It is known. It is lived. So pay attention. Stop listening to what people tell you and start watching what they do. Trust your eyes. Trust the patterns. Trust the consistency or the lack of it. Because in the end, words fade, but actions remain. And the ones who truly care, the ones who are truly meant for you, will never have to convince you with words. Their love, their respect, their loyalty, it will all be spoken through what they do. Love should not feel like chaos. It should not feel like a constant battle, a never-ending cycle of uncertainty, anxiety, or exhaustion. Love is not meant to break you. It is not meant to make you question your worth, your sanity, or your ability to be loved. Real love, true love, brings peace. It brings comfort. It settles your soul instead of shaking it. And if the love you are holding on to brings you more pain than peace, then it is not the love you deserve. You deserve a love that does not make you beg for reassurance. A love that does not leave you guessing where you stand, what you mean, or how important you are. The right love will not leave you doubting yourself, questioning your every move, or feeling like you have to constantly prove your worth. When love is real, it does not keep you in a state of uncertainty. It does not play games. It does not make you feel small. It grounds you. It gives you a sense of security, of belonging, of knowing that you are wanted. Not just in words, but in actions. Some people will tell you they love you, but their love will feel like a storm. Unpredictable, unstable, always keeping you on edge. One moment they make you feel like you are the center of their world, the next they make you feel invisible. That is not love. That is emotional whiplash. That is inconsistency disguised as passion. And that is not the love you deserve. Because real love, healthy love, does not create confusion. It does not make you feel like you are walking on eggshells. It does not drain you. It nurtures you. It strengthens you. You deserve love that feels like home, not a battlefield. Love should not feel like something you have to fight for every single day just to keep it alive. Love should not make you feel exhausted, emotionally depleted, or constantly afraid of losing it. When love is right, it does not require you to sacrifice your peace. It does not force you to accept less than you deserve. It does not demand that you shrink yourself just to make room for it. True love allows you to be fully yourself, without fear, without hesitation, without apology. The right love does not manipulate you. It does not punish you with silence. It does not use your insecurities against you. The right love does not leave you feeling like you are too much or not enough. When someone truly loves you, they do not weaponize your emotions. They do not make you feel guilty for needing reassurance. They do not make you feel like a burden for wanting to be loved in the way you deserve. Real love, the love you are worthy of, meets you where you are. It understands you. It embraces you. It never makes you feel like love is something you have to chase. If you have to constantly prove your worth to someone, that is not love. If someone makes you feel like you have to fight for their attention, that is not love. If you are always on edge, waiting for them to finally see your value, that is not love. Love should choose you, freely and fully. Love should not feel like an uphill battle. It should not feel like you are constantly auditioning for a role you should have already been given. The love that is meant for you will not require you to exhaust yourself trying to earn it. You deserve a love that makes you feel safe. A love that does not trigger your deepest fears but calms them. A love that does not leave you second guessing but reassures you. A love that does not add to your anxieties but helps you carry them. A love that does not bring drama into your life but removes it. When love is real, it brings peace to your soul. It makes your life better, not harder. It does not make you question whether you are loved. It makes sure you know it. So many people stay in relationships that steal their peace because they confuse intensity with love. They think that love must be hard, that struggle is proof of passion. But the truth is, love does not have to hurt to be real. Love does not have to be complicated to be deep. The right love will not exhaust you. It will not deplete you. It will not leave you feeling like you are losing yourself just to hold on to it. The right love will restore you. It will give you peace, not take it away. You deserve a love that values your heart, a love that does not make you beg to be seen, to be heard, to be understood. The right person will not make you feel like love is something you must earn. They will not treat your heart like it is disposable. They will cherish you. They will protect your peace, not disturb it. They will love you in a way that makes your world feel lighter, not heavier. That is the kind of love you deserve. The truth is, the love you accept is the love you believe you deserve. And if you keep allowing love that disrupts your peace, that drains your spirit, that makes you feel anything less than cherished, then you are settling for something far beneath what you are worthy of. You deserve a love that makes you feel at home within yourself. A love that does not require you to constantly fight for its presence. A love that chooses you without hesitation. When you find love that brings peace, you will know it. It will not feel like a roller coaster. It will not feel like a constant struggle. It will not make you question your worth. It will be steady. It will be sure. It will feel right in a way that words cannot explain. And when you find that love, hold on to it. Because love that brings peace is rare and it is worth everything. Fear is a dangerous thing. It whispers lies in your ear, convincing you that you're running out of time, that you'll never find the love you truly deserve, that you must take whatever you can get before it's too late. Fear tells you that loneliness is worse than settling, that being with someone, even if they're not right for you, is better than being alone. But that's not the truth. The truth is, when you settle out of fear, you trade your happiness for temporary comfort. You give up the chance to experience real love because you were too afraid to wait for it. You deserve more than a relationship that merely fills space. You deserve more than a love that only exists because you were afraid to be alone. Settling for someone who doesn't truly fulfill you will not make you happy. It will make you regretful. It will leave you wondering what could have been if you had just held on a little longer. If you had just trusted that something better was on its way. And the saddest part? Settling will rob you of the love that was actually meant for you. Because you'll be too busy clinging to something you never really wanted. When you settle out of fear, you sacrifice your own needs. You convince yourself that love is about compromise, but deep down, you know it's not compromise, it's self-betrayal. You start making excuses for the things that don't feel right. You tell yourself that no relationship is perfect, that you're being too picky, that you should just be grateful someone loves you at all. But love isn't about settling for less just to have something. Love is about finding someone who makes your heart feel at home, someone who aligns with your soul, someone who brings out the best in you, not someone who forces you to dim your light just to keep them around. Fear makes people believe that they are running out of time, but time is not your enemy. Loneliness is not your enemy. The real enemy is settling for a love that does not nourish your soul. The real enemy is allowing your fear to push you into something you know is not right for you. It is better to be alone for a while than to wake up every day next to someone who makes you feel more alone than you ever did when you were by yourself. Do not let fear convince you to accept a life that does not truly make you happy. You must trust that what is meant for you will come. You must believe that love is not something you have to chase, force, or settle for. The right person for you exists, and they will meet you at the right time. But if you allow fear to guide your decisions, you will never be available for the love you deserve. You will already be tied to something that drains you, something that was never supposed to be yours in the first place. The love that is meant for you cannot find you if you are too afraid to let go of the wrong one. Settling out of fear is a form of self-abandonment. It is telling yourself that your needs, your desires, your dreams do not matter. It is choosing comfort over fulfillment, choosing security over passion, choosing to silence your heart rather than listen to what it truly wants. But love is not supposed to feel like a forced decision. It is not supposed to feel like something you had to convince yourself to accept. Love should feel like peace. It should feel like home. It should feel right in a way that does not require explanation. There is no timeline for finding love. There is no deadline you must meet. The world may try to make you believe that you need to hurry, that you are falling behind, that if you do not settle soon, you will be left with nothing. But love does not operate on a schedule. Love does not punish those who wait for the right person. Love rewards those who have the courage to trust that what is meant for them will never pass them by. You are not behind. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. The love you deserve will not ask you to lower your standards. It will not make you feel like you are asking for too much. It will not make you feel guilty for wanting a deep, meaningful, soul-shaking connection. The right love will match your energy. It will show up for you fully, without hesitation, without excuses, without fear. When you meet that kind of love, you will realize why it never worked out with anyone else. You will see that the wait was worth it. But if you settle, you will never get to experience the beauty of what was meant for you. You will live in a relationship that feels almost right but never quite enough. You will spend your days trying to force a connection that does not truly exist. You will wonder what would have happened if you had just been brave enough to wait. And that kind of regret, it is far worse than any temporary loneliness you feel right now. You are worthy of a love that does not feel forced. You are worthy of a love that does not make you feel like you settled. You are worthy of a love that meets you where you are, sees you for who you truly are, and embraces you completely. Do not let fear steal that from you. Do not let fear convince you that you are not enough on your own. You are more than enough, and when the right love finds you, you will understand why you never had to settle in the first place. The person who is meant for you will come. They will show up in ways that no one ever has before. They will make you feel safe, cherished, valued. They will love you in a way that is undeniable, in a way that makes you feel seen, in a way that does not require you to convince yourself to stay. But you will only experience that love if you refuse to let fear dictate your choices. If you choose yourself first, if you choose patience, if you choose to believe that real love is worth the wait, you deserve more than a love that was chosen out of fear. You deserve a love that was chosen out of certainty. A love that feels like destiny, not desperation. A love that makes you feel like you belong. And when you find it, you will know, because it will not feel like settling. It will feel like everything you've ever been waiting for. There is a time for everything in life. A time for love, a time for growth, a time for healing, and a time for waiting. But the hardest thing for most people to accept is that waiting does not mean being forgotten. Waiting does not mean being denied. Waiting does not mean that God has abandoned you. It simply means that what is meant for you has not yet arrived, and if you rush it, you may end up with something that was never meant to be yours in the first place. Divine timing is real, and when you trust it, you will never have to force, beg, or manipulate anything to happen. The problem is we want things on our own terms. We want love when we feel ready. We want success when we decide we deserve it. We want our breakthroughs now, not later. But life does not work that way. God does not work on your schedule. He works on a divine timeline that is bigger than anything you could ever imagine. And every single time you try to control what is meant to unfold naturally, you only delay your own blessing. Because what is forced is never real. What is rushed never lasts. And what is not meant for you will never bring you peace. You have to trust that what is meant for you will come exactly when it is supposed to. Not a moment too soon, not a moment too late. The love you desire, the success you dream of, the opportunities you are praying for, they are already written for you. But they will not arrive until you are truly ready for them. And readiness is not just about what you want, it is about what you are prepared to receive. God will never give you something before you are ready to handle it, because if he did, you would not be able to sustain it, you would not be able to protect it, you would not be able to truly appreciate it. Think about all the times you prayed for something and it didn't happen. You thought it was a rejection. But looking back, you realize it was protection. That job you didn't get, that person who walked away, that door that refused to open. What if those things didn't happen to you but happened for you? What if God was shielding you from something that was never meant to be yours? What if he was making room for something better? Because that's the truth. When something isn't working out, it's not a punishment, it's divine alignment. There is so much peace in trusting that you do not have to chase what is already meant for you. You do not have to beg for love. You do not have to force relationships to work. You do not have to manipulate your way into success. When it is meant to be, it will flow. It will happen naturally. It will unfold in ways that feel effortless. That doesn't mean you don't have to work hard. That doesn't mean you don't have to put yourself out there. But it does mean that when something is truly aligned with you, it will not come with confusion, doubt, or chaos. The reason people struggle with divine timing is because they are impatient. They want to skip the process and jump straight to the blessing. But the process is what prepares you for the blessing. You cannot become who you are meant to be if you do not first go through what is necessary to shape you. If you rush the process, you will end up with something that feels incomplete, something that does not truly satisfy you, something that may look good on the outside but is empty on the inside. And you will realize that waiting was never the problem. It was the impatience that led you to settle for less than what was meant for you. God's timing is never wrong. Even when it feels like nothing is happening, everything is happening behind the scenes. The people you are meant to meet, the opportunities you are meant to have, the love that is meant to find you, it is all coming together in ways you cannot see. And when it arrives, you will understand why the wait was necessary. You will see that the delays were not denials, they were preparations. They were making sure you would be ready for what was about to come. If you are in a season of waiting, do not despair, do not lose faith, do not let doubt creep in and convince you that you have been forgotten. You are not forgotten. You are not running out of time. You are not being punished. You are simply in the middle of a divine process that is leading you to something far greater than what you could have created on your own. Trust it. Trust that you do not have to know every detail. Trust that you do not have to understand why things are happening the way they are. Trust that one day everything will make perfect sense. And when that day comes, you will look back and realize that every unanswered prayer was actually a blessing. Every delay was actually protection. Every disappointment was actually redirection. Because God never takes something away without replacing it with something better. The problem is too many people settle for what is convenient instead of waiting for what is divine. They grab onto the first thing that comes their way instead of trusting that something greater is on its way. But those who wait, those who trust, those who believe, they are the ones who receive the kind of blessings that leave no doubt that they came straight from God's hands. You must let go of the need to control everything. You must release the idea that you have to force things to happen. You must surrender to the reality that your timing is not the same as God's timing. And when you do that, you will finally understand what true peace feels like. Because peace is not about knowing when something will happen. It is about knowing that it will happen in the way it is meant to, and that is enough. That is everything. The love you seek is coming. The success you crave is already written. The life you are meant to live is unfolding in ways you cannot yet see. But you have to trust. You have to believe. You have to remind yourself that what is meant for you will not pass you by. Not now, not ever. Because divine timing is not just about waiting. It's about trusting that the wait is always worth it. Everything in life happens for a reason, and nothing that is truly meant for you will ever pass you by. No matter how much it seems like things aren't falling into place, no matter how long the wait feels, trust that what is coming will be greater than anything you could have imagined. You don't have to force what is real. You don't have to chase what is already yours. When the right people, the right opportunities, and the right moments arrive, They will align with your life in a way that feels effortless. It won't be filled with confusion, chaos, or doubt. It will be marked by clarity, peace, and divine confirmation. Too often we question why things don't happen the way we want them to. We ask why certain people leave, why doors close, why timing feels unfair, but when we look back, we realize that what seemed like a setback was actually a setup for something greater. The rejection, the delays, the unanswered prayers, they were never about denying you, but rather preparing you for something far more fulfilling than what you would have settled for. Sometimes the greatest blessings come disguised as obstacles, and the biggest breakthroughs happen right after the moments we thought we had lost everything. You were never forgotten. You were never abandoned. You are simply walking a path that has been divinely designed for you. And the more you trust the process, the less you will feel the need to control it. The love that brings you peace, the opportunities that align with your purpose, and the success that feels fulfilling will come when the time is right. Until then, focus on becoming the person who is ready to receive it. Work on yourself. Strengthen your faith. And let go of anything that forces you to shrink into something less than what you were meant to be. Every chapter of your life serves a purpose. The waiting season is not wasted. It is building you into the person who can carry the blessings that are on their way. You are not running out of time. You are not falling behind. You are exactly where you need to be. When you trust this, you will no longer settle for what is temporary. You will no longer be afraid to walk away from what doesn't serve you. And most importantly, you will no longer question whether you are deserving of something better, because deep down you will know that you are. Hold on to your faith. Keep your heart open, and remember, what is meant for you will always find its way to you at exactly the right time. It won't come a second too early, and it won't be delayed. Trust the timing of your life, trust the journey, and most of all, trust that God is always working behind the scenes in ways you can't yet see. Thank you for being here. May you walk forward with faith, courage, and unwavering belief in what is meant to come. God bless you.
Bitte kracht. Misschien. Ach.
Listen to me, my friends. Let me tell you something real, something powerful. Life is not always going to be easy. You will face challenges. And sometimes the hardest thing to do is let go of the people and things that no longer serve you. But listen carefully, because I need you to understand this. Letting go is not giving up. It is about moving forward. It is about growth. It is about stepping into the person you were always meant to be. We all have people in our lives who hold us back. They drain us. They discourage us. They do not believe in us. And for far too long, we have given them space in our lives. We have let them dictate how we feel, how we live, and how we see ourselves. But that is not the way you are meant to live. You were not created to exist in the shadows of someone else's doubts or fears. You were born to shine. You were made to stand tall. You were meant to be the best version of yourself. And to do that, you must learn how to let go. Let go of the toxic relationships. Let go of the negativity. That means saying goodbye to those who are not lifting you. Let go of the ones who have been holding you back, the ones who tell you what you cannot do, what you cannot have, what you cannot become. You must release them from your life. I know it is not easy. It is hard to let go of people you have invested time in, people you have loved, people you have tried to help. But listen to me. Here is the truth. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot keep giving when you have nothing left. You cannot keep trying to fill the voids of others while your own life is empty. You must start by looking inward, by truly looking inward. I mean, learning to love yourself, learning to be happy alone. Some of you are afraid of that. You think being alone means being lonely, but that is a lie. Being alone does not mean you are lonely. It means you are free. It means you are whole. It means you have the opportunity to truly discover who you are, what you are capable of, and what you deserve. When you learn to be happy on your own, you become unstoppable. Because when you stand on your own 2 feet, when you love and respect yourself, your energy shifts. You begin to attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the right circumstances into your life. You stop chasing after things, and instead you start attracting them. When you stand alone and find peace within yourself, that is when everything changes. Well, Connie, that is when the magic happens. The universe, life, destiny, whatever you believe in, begins to open doors for you. But before that can happen, you must walk away from what does not serve you. Walk away from the people who do not believe in you. Walk away from the situations that keep pulling you down. And I know it is tough. I know it is hard to walk away from what is familiar. I know it feels like you are losing something, but hear me when I say this. You are not losing anything. You are gaining everything. You are gaining your peace. You are gaining your power. You are gaining your purpose. You are gaining the life you have always dreamed of. So I want you to remember this and say it to yourself every single day. I am worthy. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of happiness. I am worthy of respect. And when you start believing that, when you start walking in that truth, that is when the world around you begins to change. But let me tell you something, it will take time. It will not happen overnight. You will face challenges. You will face doubts. There will be moments when you question whether you have what it takes. But let me tell you right now, you already have everything you need within you. You have everything within you to create the life you deserve. So take that first step. Keep moving forward one day at a time. And as you do, I promise you this, you will be amazed at how much peace, how much joy, and how much freedom you will find. You do not need anyone to complete you. You are already whole. You are already enough. And when you realize that, when you finally let go of everything that does not serve you, that is when your life will truly begin. Let me tell you something powerful. You are the only person who can stand in the way of your own greatness. No one else has that power over you unless you give it to them. You might say, but I've been trying, I've been pushing, I've been working so hard, why isn't it happening? Let me tell you the truth. It is not just about how much work you put in. It is about the energy you bring into your life. It is about the people you surround yourself with. It is about who you choose to give your time, your love, and your attention to. Too many of us are taught that we need to have people around us at all times. Friends, family, relationships. We are told that without them something is missing. That if we are alone, we are incomplete. But that is a lie. That is a belief that has been sold to us. And it is time to break free from it. There is power in solitude. There is strength in being alone. Because when you are alone, you are with the one person who matters most. You. And there is something truly beautiful about that. When you stop relying on the opinions of others, when you stop seeking validation from people who are just as lost as you are, that is when you will find true happiness. That is when you will find peace. You will stop searching for the approval of others, and instead you will give yourself the approval you have been desperately seeking. And I understand it is difficult to let go. It is hard to say goodbye to people who have been a part of your life for so long. We get attached, we get comfortable, but that attachment is what is keeping you stuck. It is keeping you in a place where you keep giving and giving, but you are never receiving anything in return. It is time to take a step back. Take a deep breath. Realize that you do not need anyone to make you whole. When you are constantly surrounded by people who are taking from you, when you are the one always giving, something has to change, and that change has to start with you. It will not be easy. It will be uncomfortable, but when you finally let go of the people who do not serve you, when you stop holding on to the ones who do not appreciate you, when you stop letting others dictate how you feel, that is when you will truly find peace. You have to get used to saying no. You have to get comfortable with stepping back and saying, I cannot give any more of myself. And yes, people will get upset. They will question you. They will try to make you feel guilty. But do not let them. Understand that this is your journey. This is your life. And you have only one chance to live it. You owe it to yourself to live it on your own terms. If someone in your life is not adding to your happiness, is not pushing you to be better, is not making you feel like you are worthy, then it is time to let them go. I do not care how long you have known them. I do not care how close you are. If they are not bringing light into your life, then they are taking it away. And you have every right to walk away from that. Now listen to me carefully. There is nothing wrong with being alone. There is nothing wrong with focusing on yourself. This is your time. This is the time for you to grow, to heal, to become
become the person you were meant to be. Too many of us are trapped in the idea that we need someone else to make us happy. That if we are not in a relationship or if we are not constantly surrounded by people, then we are missing out. That is not true. Happiness starts with you. It begins inside of you. And I want you to hear this. You are not weak for needing space. You are not weak for choosing solitude. You are not weak for setting boundaries. In fact, it takes incredible strength to choose yourself over the noise and distractions of the world. It takes courage to walk away from people who drain you, from people who do not see your worth, from people who only want to pull you down to their level. It takes strength to look in the mirror and say, I am worthy of peace. I am worthy of happiness, and I will not settle for anything less. You were not put on this earth to be a placeholder in someone else's life. You were not created to be an afterthought, to be the person someone only turns to when they need something, only to forget about you when things are going well for them. You are not disposable. You are worthy of love, respect, and loyalty. And if you are not getting that from the people around you, then you have every right to walk away. We have been conditioned to believe that we must always please others, that we must live for others. But let me tell you something you need to hear. You do not owe anyone your happiness. You do not owe anyone your time, your energy, or your love if they do not appreciate it. You are not obligated to keep people in your life just because they have been there for a long time. Longevity does not equal loyalty. If someone does not value you, does not respect you, does not uplift you, then they do not deserve a place in your life. And the moment you stop giving your energy to people who drain you, the moment you stop settling for less than what you deserve, that is when everything begins to change. Here is something else I need you to understand. You cannot heal anyone who does not want to be healed. You cannot fix someone who is not ready to change. You cannot save people who are not willing to